What's going on, guys? Styx here with the Token Minorities, bringing you the Team Builder for Week 1 of Season 6 of the CPC, and this week we are up against John W. and his Indiana Keldeos. And before I get into the team, just a reminder that if you like this video or found it helpful, please leave a like, drop a comment, click that subscribe button. It helps us out a ton, and let's do more cool stuff for you guys. And also, if you are new to the channel, feel free to check out our Discord. It will be linked in the description below. Here at TTM, we are a collaborative channel, so we not only have channels and content for Draft League, we also have TCG and Smogon if Maddie ever decides to do that, which, I mean, he does every blue moon, so, I mean, we technically can say that we are Smogon in some sense. But yeah, there's a link to the Discord below. We have channels for discussing all different aspects of Pokemon. Feel free to check that out. But anyway, on to the team. Like I said, this week we are up against John W. and his Indiana Keldeos, and his team consists of Kyurem Black, Greninja, Skarmory, Tapu Bulu, Mega Aerodactyl, Piloswine, Drapion, Porygon 2, Manaphy, and Volbeat, with Drapion and Kyurem Black being his two Z users. So yeah, Kyurem Black is just absolutely terrifying. I mean, looking at his team, no doubt in my mind, Kyurem Black is the biggest threat, because you really just don't have a switch into Kyurem. Like, I have two of the better ones in my opinion in Swampert and Ferrothorn, and even those with just the right coverage move can get blown back. So Kyurem is one of the biggest threats in the entire draft format. It's one of the best mons in the entire draft format. So I'm really going to have to be careful how I choose to play around that and how I try to play around that. On top of that, Greninja and Mega Aerodactyl both give my team a pretty tough time, all things considered. I mean, just the sheer amount of moves that Greninja can have at its disposal. It has all the coverage it needs to really give my team a tough time, in addition to just being able to outspeed everything except for Tapu Koko and Alolan Raichu naturally. And then I'm saying Alolan Raichu considering it's in electric terrain, as everything else, in order to outspeed Greninja, either has to have priority or has to be a choice scarf. So Greninja's a huge threat. Mega Aerodactyl hits insanely hard. Even though I have one of the best fast mons in the format in Tapu Koko, Mega Aerodactyl can still afford to run Adamant against me. That's just how fast that thing is and how terrifying that thing is. So I'm really going to have to try to play around that and prep around that as best as I can. And then Tapu Bulu, even though it really, I don't know, it's fallen out of favor in terms of like top tier mons, but you still have to have an answer to Tapu Bulu. It just spamming its grass attacks is a recipe for disaster against anybody who underestimates Bulu. So that's another thing that I am going to have to look out for. And then on top of that, his fat, like Skarmory, Piloswine, and Porygon 2, all are very big threats. Well, I use the term threats to mean like they are somewhat difficult to deal with, especially given my mons. However, I think that I should be able to deal with those as best as possible, but they are things that I do have to keep in mind. I do have to have ways of beating them so they don't just stall me out. And you might have noticed I have not even brought up Manaphy yet. Manaphy is an insane threat. I mean, just Tail Glow Manaphy is one of the bigger threats out there. However, luckily Manaphy does not have Z moves, so that makes it significantly less of a threat against me, but I still have to have a way of playing around that and not just getting swept by it late game if I let my Tapu Koko go down or something to that effect. So yeah, that's his team. Very, very scary, a very solid team. And looking at my team, I'm immediately noticing that my big Z user is going to do absolutely nothing against him. I mean, Salamence really just does not have a good matchup at all. I mean, if he had just a bunch of individual stuff, like, okay, if he just had Skarmory, then I could run Z-Fire. If he just had Tapu Bulu, then I could run Z-Fly. If he just had Piloswine, then I could run Yache Berry. If he just had Porygon 2, I could run kind of a bulkier Dragon Dance set. If he just had Manaphy, once again, the bulkier set. But the fact that he has all of those on one team, it's just kind of like, well, Mence, you're kind of on the bench for this one. Sorry about that, dude. So, yeah, Salamence is not doing much against him at all, and it's going to be doing even less considering I am not bringing it. However, I am noticing that he has a gigantic weakness to Swords Dance Lucario, and if I can just get up to +2 and wear down a few things, Lucario will just win the game at +2. So that's really going to be kind of my game plan that I'm going for with this team, with the rest of it just kind of, with the rest of the team just trying to support it and put myself in the best position to be able to win the game with Lucario late game. But anyway, let's just go ahead and dive right into the team. The first thing I am bringing is a Choice Scarfed Tapu Koko. Now, I was kind of wondering what type of item I wanted to run on Tapu Koko. So he has a Piloswine, which unfortunately is a pretty solid answer to Tapu Koko, all things considered. I mean, Grass Knot will only be hitting for, I believe it's 80 base power. So, I mean, yes, if I run like Calm Mind, then I get up to +1, then I can 2-hit KO the Piloswine. But at that point, he will still be able to get off an Earthquake, and he also has Tapu Bulu, which is an amazing switch-in. It can get rid of the electric terrain, which keeps me from hitting that hard with my electric attacks. I mean, it can run Assault Vest, which kind of neutralizes the special attacking prowess of Tapu Koko. And granted, I do have U-Turn and Brave Bird, but those things just basically mean that Tapu Koko really isn't going to be doing a whole lot of sweeping. So I decided, okay, Tapu Koko is going to be more for momentum. As you can see, I have 2 forms of momentum on my Tapu Koko with U-Turn and Volt Switch. So that's what Tapu Koko is going to be. It's going to be a revenge killer, and it is going to be a momentum gainer for my team. With the U-Turn and Volt Switch, like I said, for dual momentum, if Piloswine is gone, I can spam the much stronger Volt Switch. If Piloswine is there, I can just spam U-Turn. It really just gives me a choice of what I want to go for, and also if it's a bulky Mega Aerodactyl, particularly, that is the main mon that I decided to run Volt Switch over Thunderbolt. If it's bulky enough, it might not go down to just a T-Bolt, and then it's able to kill me in response. So I kind of wanted Volt Switch to be like, okay, if I have to 2-hit KO, you are going to kill the mon of my choosing. You are not going to KO my Tapu Koko. You're going to take out the mon that I allow you to, and still have my Tapu Koko to come back in and go for a Volt Switch once again to finish that thing off. U-Turn is just, if there's a Piloswine on his team, I'm just going to click U-Turn. That's just how it's going to go. Brave Bird is because this team, I mean, it has Necrozma and Mega Pidgeot, as you will see, to deal with Tapu Bulu, but otherwise just a way of being like, okay, need to get rid of this Tapu Bulu with my Koko in, or maybe Mega Pidge and Necrozma are down, something to that effect. So just being able to have Brave Bird on my Tapu Koko to be able to hit one of his main answers to Koko was kind of beneficial, I thought. And then Dazzling Gleam for things like Kyurem, Greninja, just kind of a late game spamming attack if I need to go for that. Now the speed is to guaranteed outspeed Greninja, who's speed creeping Mega Pidge. I could go straight for the speed creeping Greninja. I mean, it would really just only be an extra EV, but I'm going to go a little bit greedier on this because he has no reason to just run max speed Greninja. I mean, with his Greninja, he barely outspeeds my Mega Pidge, and so I mean, that's what he's going to do. He is going to hit that number with his Greninja, or he's more than likely going to. I hope he does. If he runs max speed, then we're at the speed tie at the very worst. But he's probably going to try to outspeed my Mega Pidge, use that extra EV in like special attack or something like that. Use it in one of those stats. I think he would value that more so than just going max speed Greninja. So that's why I'm only going that. And then maxing out special attack, is those are my main 2 attacks, and then throwing the rest into attack just so U-Turn and Brave Bird can hit a little harder. Next up, we have Melvin the Ferrothorn with Leech Seed, Gyro Ball, Power Up, and Protect. I am not going for multiple hazards this game because I do think that one of the ways he can beat me is to hazard stack. And considering I do not have a spinner on my team, I will be relying on Defog in order to be able to get rid of those hazards. So I decided that instead of going with multiple hazards, I'm just going to go with Stealth Rock, and then this also frees up more moves on my Ferrothorn and my Swampert, as spoilers, Necrozma does have the Stealth Rock. But Ferrothorn has Dual Stab, really just to cover everything. Power Whip, Power Whip is the most expendable move in my opinion, but it will allow me to just take out Greninja in one hit. Like if he allows me to take it out, then I want to have the ability to just knock it out immediately. Right then and there, that thing goes down, just no questions asked. And then Gyro Ball, obviously, for like Kyurem, Mega Aerodactyl, Bulu, those type of things. So, and also Power Whip, mainly for the Manaphy as well, as Greninja and Manaphy are both big threats to me. And with the Akaberry, I will be able to live what hits they go for, or if they go for an HP Fire, which they both more than likely will have. I mean, I think that one of them will have HP Fire at the very least. I can go ahead and just chew that hit, go for the Power Whip, knock them out, and then those are threats that I don't have to deal with any longer. Leech Seed is very spammable against his team, as he can go into Tapu Bulu, but not only does that still get hit very hard by Gyro Ball, that also gives me recovery that I would not have otherwise, because I do have the Akaberry. I don't have leftovers. I am relying on Leech Seed for my recovery with this Ferrothorn. So him going Bulu on my Leech Seed is actually beneficial for me, and I am okay with just wasting a Leech Seed on that. But otherwise, Leech Seed is very spammable against his team and puts me in great spots with my Fat Mons, just getting them back to full health. And then Protect, because Kyurem Black can come in if my Ferrothorn is somewhat low, and then he can just fire off an ICMZ, as I really don't have any resists to that. Lucario is by all definitions a resist, but Lucario doesn't really resist anything, let's be real here. So Protect is just kind of burn the ICMZ, scout out hidden powers on like Greninja, or scout out like Fire Fang on Mega Aerodactyl, that type of thing. So just Protect is very useful in this game for scouting and also potentially burning a Z move. Now, as for the EVs, just a very standard, I believe I actually ripped off the specially defensive Smogon EVs, just because, I mean, I did some calcs and I decided that, you know what, this set does what I need it to do. It's fat where I need it to be fat, and I really didn't feel the need to tinker with any of it. So yeah, just a very standard SpDef spread with a little bit into physical defense. Next up, we have my Stealth Rocker with the Necrozma with Stealth Rock, Photon Geyser, Heat Wave, and Morning Sun. And just want to make sure that I chose the right attack. Yes, I did choose Photon Geyser. I accidentally chose Prismatic Laser in one of my first iterations of building this team, and then when I got into a mock, I was like, oh, that's not right. Oops. But either way, with Stealth Rock, Photon Geyser, Heat Wave, and Morning Sun. Now, with this Necrozma, I'm kind of feeling the 4 move slot syndrome, because I would really like to have Earth Power for the potential Drapion. However, I feel like the moves on Ferrothorn and Swampert are very important, all things considered. And so while I could easily move Stealth Rock onto one of those two mods, I felt like it fit best on Necrozma. Necrozma also has the most free opportunities to get up Stealth Rocks at the minimum opportunity cost for me. So basically that's where I decided that Necrozma would be the best mon to get Stealth Rocks up on my team. And then I went with the coverage moves that I did, Photon Geyser and Heat Wave, just because they hit his team hard enough. Photon Geyser, I mean, it's just a good spammable attack. That way, if like Mega Aerodactyl or Piloswine come in, I can just kind of hit those things hard. Manaphy comes in, tries to set up. And then Heat Wave hits the Tapu Bulu and the Skarmory for super effective damage, as that is definitely what I want against both of those. And granted, I can't hit Greninja particularly hard. The best thing I have to hit it is Heat Wave, but Necrozma is not going to be my response to Greninja anyway. My response to Greninja is going to be a combination of Ferrothorn and my Swampert, and then also playing aggressively against it. So Necrozma might have to take a hit, but I'm not counting on Necrozma to be able to take the damage from Greninja at any point, so that's why I'm okay with not being able to hit it. And also, I'll just get up my Stealth Rock as he switches in Greninja, and then I will switch out, and then Morning Sun just to be a little bit fatter. I chose Morning Sun over Moonlight just because all I've seen is Moonlight on Necrozma, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to be different. I'm going to run Morning Sun. Now, as for the EVs, I wanted to be very fat physically, because Ferrothorn and Swampert are both very specially bulky. So I rely on Necrozma for my physical bulk, and then I believe the defense is enough to guaranteed live Adamant Hornleech, or guaranteed avoid the 2-hit KO from Adamant Hornleech after rocks, and then also obviously Grassy Terrain Recovery. So that's kind of what the benchmark I went for. I couldn't hit any significant numbers with Woodhammer, so I just kind of went off a Hornleech, as this makes me physically bulky. Oh, this makes me very, very physically bulky anyway. Enough speed just to speed creep some speed creepers. 56 special attack is to guaranteed 2-hit KO, max HP Bulu, I believe, even with the Grassy Terrain Recovery, and then I just threw the rest into special defense to take like maybe a Surf from Manaphy or an Ice Beam from Kyurem just a little bit better. So yeah, that is my Necrozma, and next up we have the Swampert with leftovers, Toxic, Roar, Scald, and Protect, and I believe that this is the exact same Swampert that I took from the PPL. I think this is, if I remember correctly, I just copied and pasted the set and then tinkered with some stuff to change it from level 50 to level 100. Obviously, change the speed creep just a little bit. And with Toxic, Roar, Scald, and Protect, this wears things down. I mean, Scald is very spammable. It prevents Kyurem from being able to set up a sub on me, as sub Kyurem is the biggest problem for my team. This keeps Kyurem from being able to get a sub up on anything except for Tapu Koko, and even then, whatever Tapu Koko is locked into will be able to, like, if Tapu Koko stays in after being locked into something, that something is going to be able to break the sub anyway. So basically this set just ensures that Kyurem does not get a sub up on me. Toxic is for the bulky stuff, like, well, not even, well, Greninja technically. Well, like, if Kyurem tries to switch in on Swampert, it takes a Toxic. Greninja switches in, takes a Toxic. Bulu, the same. Just basically his fat stuff, I want to be able to Toxic that, start wearing it down, particularly the Porygon 2, as that's something that's very annoying for my team to deal with. And I also have a Mega Pidge dedicated to trying to wear down that Porygon 2 as well. So Toxic, Roar for the sub. Scald is just a spammable move, potentially get a burn, and then Protect, much in the same vein as Ferrothorn, to try to burn the Z move off of the Kyurem. Now, the investment, the speed is just kind of speed creeping. The special defense, I don't remember exactly what this was because I did just kind of copy and paste it from the PPL. I think it had something to do with living Z, like a protected Z Ice Beam into Ice Beam or something to that effect, or maybe just a adamant outrage or something, to non-banded or life orbed outrage, something. I did have reasons for these EVs, but that was back in the PPL, and I just copy and pasted. I was like, you know what, the Swampert is good enough, so I'm just rolling with it. Next up, we do have Mega Pidgeot with Hurricane, Roost, Toxic, and Defog, and this is the Mon that I definitely had the most 4-move slot syndrome with in this matchup, as Hurricane is very spammable against his team, but he does have one of the best counters in the game in Porygon 2, and he has one of the best offensive checks to it in Mega Aerodactyl. Now, Mega Aerodactyl can't just switch in all the time, but Mega Aerodactyl does avoid the 2-hit KO from Hurricane, even a modest Hurricane, so that's pretty scary. Roost is just so I have the ability to recuperate some of my health, regenerate some of my health, particularly against Skarmory. If he tries to go into that, maybe Porygon 2, if that thing tries to come in and recover off like a Hurricane, something like that. Toxic is mainly for the Mega Aerodactyl and the P2. Skarmory, I really wanted Heat Wave in this spot for Skarmory, but decided that, you know what, Toxic is going to hit Mega Aerodactyl and Porygon 2 significantly harder. I need those things weakened to be able to win the game. Hurricane, modest Hurricane, will hit defensive Skarmory very hard anyway. I think I can afford Toxic over Heat Wave in this instance. And then Defog, because one of the ways he can beat me is to Hazard Stack, and so having Defog allows me to have a way to be like, no, not that. You don't get to Hazard Stack against me. The speed is to guaranteed outspeed Manaphy, just maxed out special attack. Modest Hurricane hits insanely hard and never misses. And then threw the rest into HP with 4 into Spadef just so I could hit an odd HP number for Stealth Rocks. And finally, we have the win con in Lucario with Swords Dance, Bullet Punch, Close Combat, and Extreme Speed. And then, yeah, just basically Swords Dance, dual priority Lucario absolutely goes in this game. Shukaberry allows me to set up on Kyurem, allows me to set up on Piloswine, allows me to set up on Mega Aerodactyl, Drapion, allows me to set up on a lot of stuff, as when Lucario comes in, they will go for a ground move more than likely, especially Mega Aerodactyl. I highly doubt he'll go for a Fire Fang, because first of all, Fire Fang can miss. Second of all, Earthquake is a guaranteed one-hit KO on even a relatively bulky Lucario from Adamant Mega Aerodactyl, so he will probably try to go for that, and then Kyurem I actually resist. This is where the resistances come in handy. I won't be able to like switch in and take anything, but if I'm against Kyurem one-on-one, I can just take whatever hit he goes for and then set up my Swords Dance, and then Bullet Punch plus Extreme Speed just runs through his team, and anything that resists both of those or lives both of those is just destroyed by close combat. So that's really what I'm going for right there. Adamant for that extra damage, 96 speed to outspeed, just for investment Manaphy. Like if it was just a bulky Manaphy and threw 4 investment into speed, that's what that is for. And then just threw a lot into HP and then threw like 4 into Spadef just because I can. And then Shukaberry, like I said, allows me more opportunities to set up. So yeah, that is the team, and hope you guys will tune in on Wednesday for the battle. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and this is Styx signing out. Why not? See you guys.